Hi, my name is Gokul Narayan, and I have with me Dr. Aditya Nain. I'm an expert in information technology and intellectual property, and Aditya, my dear friend, happens to be an expert in finance. And you know what this channel is all about. So, without much further ado, let's get into the topic straight away. As you can see, the coronavirus has not been very kind to either of us. He's sporting a beard, I'm sporting a slightly dangerous looking mustache. But the financial markets are not a real reflection on the way we are looking. They look a lot brighter than either of us. And therefore, let's talk about one of the brightest aspects of the financial market as of right now, which is gold. It's doing exceptionally well, but I don't understand it. According to me, it's a slightly volatile commodity to invest in. But I've been born and brought up in a regular middle class family in which investment into gold as a safe and secured means of investment has always been taught. But there's been a lot of change in how people look at gold and how one can invest in gold. And this episode is all about demystifying gold for all of you. So, Aditya, why don't we first of all start off with how the scenarios change from what gold used to be as an investment to what it is today? So, if you can take it from there.
So the way that gold investment has changed for Indians is basically earlier that a lot of people used to buy physical gold because, as you said,
Yeah.
it was like the go-to asset. Look, we didn't have much choice of investment assets in any case, right? So you either invested in FDs and then you had some direct stocks, not even mutual funds. You had direct stocks back in the day, and then you had gold. So you had a mix of FDs, direct stocks, and gold, and that's it. And gold
Correct.
was usually your physical gold that you went to your jeweler or somehow you bought physical gold, and then you had a locker in which you kept it and you stored it.
So,
And so people got that.
guys, from this conversation, you can make out that we're both middle class people because neither of us have talked about buying property. That was a form of investment, but we're both very middle class. So the little that you have, invest into gold or put it into stock because you could buy lesser quantities of that.
No, so I just have this bias against real estate for various reasons. Okay, so the way people look at gold now is rather than buying physical gold, there are a lot more non-physical or digital, or what used to be called paper gold methods of holding it, where you don't have to
Yeah,
bother with lockers and physical gold and driving to a jeweler or gold coins under a mattress or in a cupboard, because who wants that trouble, right? Um,
correct.
so there are ways to get it. So, for instance, gold ETFs, gold funds, the RBI gold bonds, the sovereign gold bonds. So there are different ways. And I think, Gokul, to your question, the basic difference is earlier people used to buy physical gold for like a really, really rainy day, right? The day when all hell breaks loose and everyone's out on the street fighting each other. Like, then who's going to have money, and money is not going to mean much. So at least we have gold. Like, that was like the really rainy day situation.
Correct.
Um,
So let's dive into this question, Aditya. What are the forms of investment of gold? Keeping buying solid gold aside, what are
right.
the options available to us today?
So a few of the options are you can buy, as we just said, the sovereign gold bonds, which are RBI bonds guaranteed by the government, which are incentivized to get people to move away from physical gold and into digital or paper gold, so to speak. Um,
Okay.
and the advantage of that is because they want to incentivize people to buy these digital forms of gold. They're also giving you a 2.5% interest on the money that you put in to buy the bonds. So it's that added incentive of, look, if you do this, we're going to give you some more money just because you're making the effort to go digital. We're going to give you, you can almost think of it like interest or a dividend on gold. All right, so second.
So what's the second option? Sovereign gold bonds become one option. What are the other options available to us?
So the other option is you can buy a gold ETF. Now, an ETF is an exchange traded fund. The
Okay.
easiest way to understand this is it's like a mutual fund, but
Okay.
it's traded on a stock exchange. So you can buy
Okay.
it in the same way that you'd buy any stock. So suppose you wanted to buy SBI stock, or you'd open a trading account and then you just put in an order to buy, X amount. ETFs are bought in exactly the same way, so they're very easy to access. And so there are gold ETFs, which are manufactured in such a way that they track the price of physical gold. Right. So, Gokul, the first point is that the gold ETF will hold primarily physical gold.
Okay.
That's what its asset base is. And it could even, for instance, if it wants, hold a sovereign gold bond if its mandate allows that. On the other hand, a gold fund or a gold mutual fund will primarily hold a gold ETF. So, as an example,
Okay.
the SBI gold ETF will hold underlying gold, physical gold assets, and the
Okay.
SBI gold fund or mutual fund will hold the SBI gold ETF. So, there
Okay.
are different ways in which. So, why do you have this difference? Because from the investor's perspective, I can choose to either buy an ETF or a gold mutual fund. Some investors are comfortable with ETFs, some with mutual funds. The difference to me as an investor is to access a gold ETF, I need to actually buy it on a stock exchange. Whereas to access a gold mutual fund, I have to access it directly from the mutual fund house, let's say SBI mutual fund, or from a mutual fund distributor. I don't know, Gokul, if you want to talk about whether you should invest in gold or not.
Yeah. We should be talking about that also, and how much uh, uh, ballpark figures. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about. Obviously, it will depend upon age, risk-taking ability, future growth prospects, and ideas and aspirations, and all of that. I understand, but even as a general figure, if you could say how much should we invest in gold, and first of all, should we invest in gold, and how much, if so?
Right. So these days, the reason that people would invest, and I would say it makes sense to invest in gold, is from the perspective of what we call a hedge or protection against broad financial market risk. So if the confidence in financial markets is reducing, so for instance, if stocks are falling, that because people are scared, if inflation is rising, then these are times when stocks prices generally increase. Sorry, gold prices generally increase. So we've seen that
Okay.
gold prices over the last year or so have been steadily increasing, and we also know that in 2020 we had a big stock market decline. So as the stock market prices decline, typically gold prices would increase. And so for this reason, a long-term investor should or can think about holding some gold. Now he can hold this or she can hold this either in terms of sovereign gold bonds or ETFs or mutual funds. And typically, I would say between 5 to 10% of your total portfolio investment allocation can go to gold, gold and silver.
So it's it basically, if you're investing just for the sake of calculation, possibly about 1 lakh rupees a year, this is your investment, and this could be tax saving fund, this could be mutual fund, this could be anything. Out of that, you're saying 10%. So 10,000 rupees should go into gold.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, between 5 and 10,000 rupees, I always get scared of saying should, because there are various reasons that one may decline to invest in gold. But I would say that's a reasonable allocation between 5 to 10,000 rupees, or between 5 and 10% of your holdings. Yeah, hold that 10% or so in gold so that it serves as a cushion. If the market, a stock market, does fall, then you can sleep well knowing that you have this cushion of gold, which usually increases when the stock market is falling. So you know that, okay, even though my stock market holdings are falling, they're being the fall is being reduced a little bit by this 10% gold cushion that I have. So some people for that reason say, well, then hold 30% gold. But I'm not very comfortable with that, because gold goes to sleep for a long time, for many years in between. So from 2000, I think 13 to 18 or so, gold was pretty much flat. And so, investors will get restless because they'll feel that 30% of my money is getting wasted for 5 years, and then they'll jump ship and they'll move out of gold. And then that'll be just the time when gold will move up. So I just prefer to keep it at 10% so that your money is not being wasted in the years that gold goes to sleep. And in times of high inflation or stock market drops, you have a cushion where at least your gold is rising.
So, guys, there you have it. The complications of gold. I have learned a little bit about the complex word of investment in gold, but it unfortunately, I don't know if Aditya has managed to oversimplify it, because it doesn't seem as complicated as it was before we had this discussion. It seems more accessible now. I think I have an understanding of it. If you, like me, feel that you've understood a little bit of how gold investments are made.
Thanks a lot for watching. As Gokul said, we really enjoy doing this. Please give us a like, subscribe, and don't forget to share this.